In Our Headphones is made possible in part by Thorntail Hard Agave. Store finder at drinkthorntail.com.
From independent music station KEXP, you're listening to In Our Headphones, a podcast about the songs that we just can't get enough of lately. This is Evie Stokes, and this week I'm talking with Lena from the Seattle band Coral Grief. Coral Grief has been getting a ton of airplay on KEXP recently. You have a new album out. You want to talk about that at all?
Just put out our debut record called Air Between Us. Y'all have been so kind playing it on the radio so much the past few weeks. I'm so happy to have it out in the world, but also kind of a sense of relief that it's not, looming this giant release coming up. So yeah, I'm feeling super grateful to everyone for listening.
And are you going to tour soon? Or you just did a tour?
Yes, we just toured down the West Coast, and then we'll be heading out, kind of doing more of a full U.S. tour to the East Coast, down to Atlanta and places like New Orleans, which I'm really excited about. And that'll be coming up in October, November.
Cool. Well, you brought a new song that you're going to share. We can't wait to hear it. What you got?
This is from a band that I've been super excited about the past few years. They just put out a record a few weeks ago. They're called Wombo, and the album's called Danger in Fives. And the whole album is super great, but this particular song called Spyhopping caught my eye, mainly because first the name is actually what like orcas and dolphins do, and they jump up out of the water and they kind of look around to see like what's happening above the water. And I had actually seen an orca do that a few weeks ago, and then I saw this song and was like, oh my gosh, it's made for me. But that's actually kind of what the song does. It's like a super curious, a little bit of a sneaky, understated song on the record, but I think that it really highlights each instrument super well, and it draws on the call and response between the guitar and the vocalist in super, super interesting ways. And the band, they do a lot with a little bit. They're just a three-piece, and my band's also a three-piece, so I always like to see how other bands kind of orchestrate, finding that balance between, okay, how do we make this sound full, but also stripped down and highlighting what each instrument does. And I think that they do that incredibly well throughout the whole record, but this song specifically. The guitar parts particularly are super mesmerizing, and they've been getting stuck in my head all week. I'm a big fan of Wombo and this particular song, but definitely check out their whole record.
So I love how I was reading about this song and about the meaning of spy hopping. And Sydney from the band, who's the vocalist and the bassist, was talking about how the lyrics of this song sort of resemble the broken train of thoughts going from one direction to the next, and the attempt to sort of reel it in and become centered again. And that's where they came up with the title Spy Hopping, because essentially a marine animal is doing that same sort of thing. Do you feel like you relate to that in the year 2025?
Absolutely. That I feel like that song encompasses that. That is like the being of all of us so much right now. Is like, okay, how do we rein it in a little bit and focus and move forward with what matters when you hop up and look around, and it's pretty overwhelming right now.
How did you find Wombo?
I found Wombo through their last record. It's called Fairy Rust, and I was playing that a lot when I worked at Sonic Boom Records. But actually, I think a friend of ours is randomly friends with their brother, so that was a fun extra connection. I've just been a huge fan of their music. And they're from Louisville, Kentucky, which is a super intriguing place to me.
It is intriguing to me, too. And I don't feel like we get a ton of bands we hear out of Louisville.
Yeah, same. We toured there on our last tour last May, and I loved it. It was such a cool place. And it was a place I never would have imagined going before. So that only added to my intrigue about Wombo.
So what would you put Wombo next to, like if you were doing a show on KEXP or you're making a playlist for someone, what would you put them next to?
That's a good question. I would put them next to a band like the Raincoats. Or Essential Logic, something from that era. Maybe even X-Ray Specs, something kind of punkier from the 80s.
But I think, oh, bondage, up yours! 1, 2, 3, 4!
but I think that Wombo carries a lot of those kind of more oblique, sharp edges, but still makes them lush.
Cool. Well, thanks for bringing this. Let's listen to Wombo's Spyhopping. You can listen to all the music featured on In Our Headphones by following our In Our Headphones playlists, available on both Spotify and YouTube. KEXP is an independent, nonprofit radio station and arts organization. This podcast, along with all of our programming, is made possible because of the generous support of our listeners. If you'd like to make a gift to KEXP, you can do so at kexp.org. And if you enjoy In Our Headphones, please write us a review wherever you get your podcasts. In Our Headphones is hosted by me, Evie Stokes, and produced by Lilly Anna Fowler. Audio was mastered by William Myers. Serafima Healy provided production support, and our associate editorial director is Dusty Henry. Our theme song is Gospel for a New Century by Eve Toomer. If you have feedback, you can reach us at headphones@kexp.org.